Can you hear me well?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. All right, we're on speaker and I'm recording, and my technology is actually working, which is...
There you go.
So congratulations on the phone. Just on the movie. Just to introduce yourself, so I can recognize the appropriate
This
person.
is Jesse here.
Oh, hi, Jesse.
And Evgenia.
Oh, nice. Okay, gotcha. Okay, very good. I guess it's not so hard to tell the difference. So you guys wrote it, and Jesse, you directed.
Yeah, I just worked with Evgenia and her husband on the.
Oh, and when David Shiskel.
They did all the hard work.
Oh, David Shiskel.
Yeah.
Is David Murray's son or something like that, or?
He's not Murray's son. He thinks he may be somehow related to him, but we're not sure how.
Well, I might be related too, for that matter, you know. So, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Sorry. Anyway, but it's funny, though, because those plays were like these comedies, that they were seemingly light comedies.
Mm-hmm.
There was some depth to it, and I was actually talking to... I was at the John Sayles screening last night for his new movie, and I was talking to another critic about your movie, actually, and just how it is a breeze of a movie. It's just a little deceptive, but it's a breeze of a movie. It sort of moves along very effortlessly. It never lands too hard on any joke. You know, you enjoy it, and it's funny, and then it moves along, and it's deceptively light, but there's more to it. It marinated for quite a while.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So can you just describe the journey a little bit of the casting especially is so, from everybody from Paul to all the three actresses that play the sister, to even like Adam Scott's role. They're really likable cast, and Rashida, everybody. You just got extraordinarily lucky. How did?
Well, you know, we really did. One of our sort of definitely like the starting point when we started working on the script, which is the second thing that Evgenia and I worked on together, was really wanting to develop something for Paul. So the character was really sort of crafted with him in mind.
Yes.
And then shortly thereafter, once we sort of landed on the idea that we were going to try to, do some sort of a family comedy. Definitely one of our big influences was Hannah and her sisters.
Makes sense.
We really also kind of wrote for Emily Mortimer and Zooey Deschanel, who are two actresses who I've been friends with for a while, and that I've been, always sort of talking about, we should do something together, and Paul loves both of them. So the three of them were definitely three actors that we were like specifically writing for, even though we didn't tell them that we were writing a script for them. But really, it was a case like, we gave Paul the script, and he read it very quickly, and as I had hoped, he was really attracted to playing the character, and so when he joined the project, I really think like he made casting the rest of it surprisingly easy. But I think just because he's an actor that people really want to get to act with,
Sure, he is quite the charmer.
Yeah. And I just think people, for me, what I particularly love about him is that I think he's very funny, but I don't think he won't ever throw the character under the bus just to get a cheap laugh. You know what I mean? Like, it's very important to him to track what's going on emotionally for a character, and he will hold back places where there would be an easy joke that he could land, and then like still figures out how to dig a laugh out of the emotional truth there. And I think that that's something that has become a quality that people are really aspiring to, especially these days in comedies. And so I think that's probably a sort of big draw for the cast that we did end up getting, is there was this clarity of what the tone would be based on the fact that Paul was at the helm.
Yeah, before, when I was saying there was some sort of deceptive sort of aspects to it. I kind of was touching on the scene after he comes back out of prison, and he's I think he's run up against the wall of this negativity from his family, his sisters, and finally kind of loses his temper at the parlor game thing, and then you see all of a sudden this tidal wave of pent up anger. Where did that all come from, kind of thing. But he never for a moment loses that character, behind it, which is pretty remarkable. I mean, the Ned character is still very much there, catching himself by surprise.
Yeah, no. And then apologizing to his
right
to his nephew.
Rightfully so.
Having in his mind having done something so incredibly egregious as to getting remotely angry at all.
Yes.
I think also for us, we during the writing process, one question that we kept bringing up was sort of asking ourselves, like, well, isn't the main character supposed to change?
Mm-hmm.
And we sort of like contemplated all these changes that character could go through, but it didn't seem right, and it's really
felt forced.
Yeah, and
well, it's not really forced, but it's like, but it actually became clear to us that like that actually the central idea of this movie is that his character doesn't change because there's nothing wrong with his perspective on the world, and that he changes the people around him, and so at a certain point it became clear to us that was actually key to the story, that he doesn't that he doesn't have a big like character arc in the conventional sense.
Right. And how do you think, it's a tricky question here, but how do you think the film would have fared if they had gone a studio route? Do you think that would have been a viable option for you in this movie?
That is a tricky question. I mean, I think it depends. It would have depended exactly like which studio. I'm sure it would. It's hard to imagine it being the same movie that it was, but it's hard for me to predict like exactly what would have been different. Mm-hmm. One thing I'll definitely say is, we made this with Big Beach, that have done some really great movies, including Little Miss Sunshine, and Peter Saraf, who is the producer from Big Beach on the movie. I mean, was just so supportive of us doing exactly what we thought was right. You know what I mean? So I really felt an incredible amount of autonomy in that sense. But that said, it was a great group of people to collaborate with. So I'm not pretending that it wasn't a collaboration, but certainly there was nobody like from above like putting annoying restrictions on the direction that we took the story.
Yeah. And you also worked with Say again?
I said that was a terrible answer to that question, but I'm not exactly sure what the studio version would have looked like, which is probably why it didn't end up being, why it probably never would have been set up at a studio for that reason.
Right, yeah. I'm not really certain what the answer would have been either to that question. It was just sort of, it was part of this question. I just felt it might have gotten this lightness of the feel of it, and the might have gotten a little bit more formulaic. I think that.
I do think like that's my quick answer. Is that definitely there would have been more of a pressure to land bigger laughs, and so probably he would have had to dip into actually doing things that were hugely idiotic. Where
I see what
in reality, we were really obsessed with making sure that like we could always track a really logical decision on everything that he did. That from his world perspective, it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there would have been pressure to push stuff bigger than I think we or Paul would have been comfortable with.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And you mentioned earlier, an influence was Hannah and her sisters. Were you referring to the when you as you were kind of coming up with the plot, or as in terms of the kind of
not so much the plot, just sort of the kind of
feel to
just tonally the kind of movie. It was just
yes.
Honestly, it's a movie that we sort of were thinking about the actors that we did really start by thinking of some of the actors that we'd like to work with, and we thought about that we wanted to do a comedy about grown siblings. And then, of course, that made us think about Hannah and Her Sisters, which is a movie that all three of us really love. So, I think that gave a kind of just a sort of tonal influence or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, it was. I think it's a good reference actually. But I should write down my questions. But they too many.
All right, I'm so like that. I'm also a journalist, and I always have those spaced out moments.
Well, the thing is about writing too many questions is that then you may feel like you have to stick too much to all these questions rather than let it go in a very organic direction, which, speaking of organic, or should I say biodynamic direction. So also, how is Likely Story as a company to work with?
They're great. Well, I've worked with Anthony beforehand, and then interestingly enough, Evgenia and her husband have another script that they wrote this fall that they're working with them on with another director, and I have another project with them as well.
So you really have quite a strong relationship with them at this stage.
Yeah. Anthony Brigman he's a great guy and a great producer.
So what's the plan with the film next right now? How many cities is the rollout?
2,000. I think they're opening on 2,000 screens.
2,000.
It should be more or less every.
You got really wonderfully lucky with this film in terms of just came exactly at the right time. It seems like where there's like a little bit of the right this time of year maybe, and everything is a great opportunity for a film like this. Where I hope so. I think so. I think it's going to appeal to the multiplex crowd as well as like the indie art house crowd. Yeah.
That's our hope. I do also feel like we're lucky too. Like this is, it's been said a bunch that this has been, a summer of the sort of female comedy. And even though Paul's the protagonist here, I think there's a lot of estrogen in this comedy. So
yes, there definitely is.
I hope that we have the good fortune of being part of that trend as well.
Oh, I see. So you're really trying for every possible trend right now. No, but it feels very honest movie. I really enjoyed it, and
thank you so much.
And I see why it made it into the top 7 of that IndieWire's independent films you must see in August. I don't know I'm assuming you saw that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's easily the most comfortable movie in that crowd of fairly intense films, but it's nice that I think the last one I felt like this one was The Kids Are All Right. It had that.
So that's so nice to hear.
Yeah, but I don't like normally comparing because it's not fair to the to you guys. But I think you'll take that. But it's that kind of audience, I think. Which. So get ready for the Spirit Awards, I guess, next year. Thanks so much. I mean, I appreciate it, and again, I would have much preferred to be there in person, but I have to go in I have a job interview this afternoon. So.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you, and you too with the film.
Okay, well, excellent. Thank you so much.
Alrighty.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.